Hello. Hi. I think I'm live. Uh, how are you doing tonight? I hope everyone's doing really great. It's pretty late. It's like 10:30 when I'm recording this, but it's what time I got around to it. So I'm really excited to do video 3 of the Start Your Garden mini series. In this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about making the very important decision on deciding where to plant your garden. So I think that there are really three main considerations that you have to make before you even break ground. And I'm going to talk about them in their own separate video. But tonight I'm going to talk about the location of your garden. But before I do that, if you don't know me, my name is Stephanie and I am a wife and mother. I have 3 kids, 2 boys, ages 3 and 4, and a 6-month-old girl. So we're pretty busy with the little kids. And I have been having gardens for about 8 years now. So we've had various degrees of success. We've had some really awful failure gardens, and we've had some other really successful gardens. So I really love helping people, mothers, and anyone really interested in living a more simple, self sufficient life. And a huge part of that is having a garden. There's so many different ways that you can have a garden. So it doesn't have to be your typical large rows in the ground garden. And I'll talk about some of the options as well. But I really think that no matter where you live, how much property you have, you can definitely start being more self-sufficient and growing something. So I'd really encourage you that if you've never thought of having a garden, to at least kind of consider where you can even just grow some herbs or grow some salad greens, because those things are really easy to do regardless of where you are located or how much property you have. So like I said, there are a couple of decisions before you even want to break ground in your backyard or anything, and a couple of decisions that you want to make. One of them is where to plant. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about making the important decision on the location of your garden, because the location can really make or break your garden. But there are a couple different ways that you can plant a garden. So you can do something called like raised beds. I'm sure we've all seen raised beds where they're more of a, usually they're made out of cedar wood and they're like a larger bed. They provide like a clean garden appearance. They're semi-permanent, so you can move them around, but you don't necessarily want to do that. That's what we did last year. I had 3 large raised beds in one area, and we decided to move them up to another plot and make 3 more raised beds, and then use the old plot for more of my permanent plants. So like bushes, blueberry bushes, my strawberry patch, that kind of stuff is in the in-ground plot. But these raised beds, but it was a pain to move all the dirt and move them up there. So kind of think about that. You also have to fill them with dirt, right? So you also have to have either backfill or some kind of um, soil, either from your garden or from previous garden, like where you've dug up, or you're going to have to fill them with some kind of either store bought or in bulk dirt. So that's one of the things with raised beds. You can also do in ground planting, which is where you're more or less finding a plot and using your native soil and adding nutrients to it and planting in ground. Now, that's definitely more of a permanent option, but one that works really well. And you can also do containers. So, containers are really great for providing flexibility and for temporary gardens. So, in the past, I've done many containers for like a couple years when I was pregnant. I didn't want to do like a whole dig in the ground garden, so I just did a couple containers. If you get containers big enough, you can do pretty much anything in them. Anything from zucchini, squash to tomato plants to even root vegetables if you get them big enough. And it's really great for if this is your first year to use containers, because they can easily be moved around from one area to the other to really meet these like ideal conditions. So if you're not sure where the area in your garden gets the most light, doing containers and then you can move them around is a really great option. Another option is if you're in a location where you have lots of bad weather, or you have a short gardening season, and you just have to kind of move things around. Have to kind of move things around depending on the weather. Containers are also really great, and those are things that like big pots or long containers. You can find all kinds of stuff. Another option So those are kind of the three like obvious options. But another option is edible landscapes. And they're really great for long term. This is stuff that's like annuals where you're planting these things like herbs or even strawberry patches, strawberry plants, like bushes, and you're planting them within other landscape on your property. So maybe you have um, like a small pond and you've got like other plants, so planting them in there, or you have like a sidewalk with some nice flowers, planting your herbs within those landscape areas is a really great way to just incorporate it into the whole like beautiful like a appealing appearance of your garden or your backyard. So those four are options. I kind of utilize all four of those. I have beds. I have 6 beds, and then I also have I use containers all the time. I just kind of experiment with containers. So I'll what I will sometimes do is I've done like tomatoes in my beds. I know they do well in the beds, but I've also done some in containers and kind of moved them around. My beds, for example, my beds are up like behind my house, and that's where I usually have my tomatoes. But I love to have containers with cherry tomatoes in them and have them in an area that's more accessible because kids just love to have cherry tomatoes when they're walking by to the car or coming home or just like being right outside my back door playing. So I love to have something like that, like just in a container. Containers are also really great for herbs. They're really great also to just go ahead and make one and then you can give it away, give it as a gift. So I have all of those. I have an in-ground and then I also do some edible landscapes where I have like this patch that I do flowers and then I do herbs in there as well. So, but that's taken 8 years to kind of like figure out what the best locations are my for my type of things. So it might come with some practice. That's why I really do recommend doing something that's kind of more temporary, such as like containers. All right, so I would recommend if you're not sure, you've never really thought about this before, I would take like the next week and observe a couple things. I would first observe where the sun rises and where the sun sets. So what side of the house is getting the morning sun and what side of your house is getting the evening sun. And then some areas that are shady or full sun. We have a really great area outside that would get beautiful sun, but there's a huge, huge tree, which I can't wait to get rid of, but we haven't yet. So that really shades a lot of area. And then you should also determine what areas are the most trafficked. So like for us, our location from our car to our back door, which is where we come in, is our most trafficked. So if anything that I can plant right there is something that I'm going to look at regularly, I'm going to maintenance regularly. It's going to be easy for me to maintenance because I'm going to be in and out. So it's just second nature and like just an easy way to maintenance and be on top of the garden. If you have your garden way far away of your house, it's just going to be that much more difficult, especially in your first year when you're really trying to figure out how to fit gardening into your lifestyle instead of just as a hobby, but actually make it part of your life. Having something that's so far away is going to be really difficult. Especially, I learned when I have little kids, some of the best times that I can actually get out to the garden is when they're napping or once I've put them to bed. And, like that hour, once you put them to bed, you still have like that summertime hour, right? When it's still light out. And I don't want to have them in the house and be so far away. So I love to have my garden space right next to my house so I can easily harvest. I can hop right out if I need something for dinner, and then I can work while the kids are napping or whether they're sleeping. So that's something to think about. So those kinds of things would really be helpful. So think about those things. It's the first step I recommend when making decisions as far as how your garden is going to be this year. So if you are interested in having a garden, I would really love to help you out. I really love helping people take this on and start kind of this, really start this kind of journey because it's so beneficial to everyone in your family, and I just really love it. So if you are at all interested in starting a garden but really don't know where to start, I would love to hop on a 20-minute call with you and kind of go through what you have going on, what your location looks like, what your property looks like, maybe what you're interested in growing, what your what your season's going to look like as far as when your last freeze dates are and when we can start putting stuff in the ground. So hop on a call with me, free, completely free, 20 minutes. We will strategize and plan your garden this year. I'm going to put that link in the comments. And I love to hear from you. So sign up and I will see you in the next video. Thanks, guys.